Welcome to week 3. In this week, we're going to talk about alignment and proximity. So, you guys did an awesome job with your discussion forum and your design activity. I think it was a great opportunity for you to apply some of the concepts that we're learning, and I'm looking forward to us moving on to our next set of design principles, alignment and proximity. So, our objectives this week are 3. First, we want to review examples of multimedia products. We also want to identify examples of alignment and proximity. And finally, we want to apply the principles of alignment and proximity. So last we talked about contrast. So we looked at a meme such as this. And with contrast, we were able to make the text a little bit more legible. With alignment, we can improve the readability that much more. So let's put it all together. So let's say that we wanted to teach about the 6 principles of adult learning theory: motivation, learner self-concept, learner's experience, learner's need to know, readiness to learn, and orientation to learning. So how can we use our contrast, proximity, alignment, and repetition to all put it together to mix up the coherent? Let's take a look. So let's say we want to talk about motivation. We could then bring on the text and we could give a definition and possible application. We can then move on to learner self-concept, and again, in the same location, we provide our definition and possible application, and then we move into the learner's experience. As you can see, as I move through each of the topics, the colors are changing. You can tell immediately where I am. There's an alignment and coordination between the learner's experience text heading and also the color here on the graphic itself. So that's an example of how we can pull it all together. In this week's design activity, you'll have an opportunity to work on your alignment and proximity, and also with your animations using a fade, fade out, and also aligning text with images. This week you have one main reading. It's going to be about aligning words to corresponding graphics. It's actually going to be from chapter 5 of Clark and Mayer, and it's going to provide the evidence for placing words next to graphics, as well as the evidence for spoken words at the same time as a corresponding graphic. I'm pulling the principles of alignment and proximity from Robin Williams' book. And instead of having to read the book and purchase the book, I found 2 videos that very succinctly describe these 2 principles. If you're interested in reading more about alignment and proximity, in addition to the book chapter I've already assigned, feel free to purchase and download the Robin Williams book and look at it. However, to participate in the discussion forum, you only need to watch the videos I provided about alignment and proximity. This week we're going to start working on our individual projects, and we're going to start using lynda.com. I selected lynda.com as a great resource because it has some great tutorials, and what we're going to be able to do is do the tutorials, and I'll be able to give you feedback as we move along with the individual project. The first set of tutorials we're going to look at is the Adobe Captivate Essential Training. We're going to go through each of these chapters, and you'll ultimately turn in a certificate of completion when you finish. So we have a couple assignments this week. Just as we did last week, we're going to have a good, bad, and ugly alignment and proximity discussion forum. As you did last week, I would appreciate if you would share at least one example of alignment or proximity by Thursday. Then I want you to reply and share throughout the week. I've redistributed the class, but you'll be in another group of about 6 students. It's possible some of the students will be the same as from last week. It's possible we'll have an opportunity to meet some new students. Either way, I look forward to seeing your participation at the same level as last week. You'll start working on Chapter 1 of Adobe Captivate Essential Training. It's important for you to take a look at this because this is going to be the tool that you're going to be using for your individual project. It's a very short chapter, and I encourage you to watch that before you post your topic for an individual project on Thursday as well. The reason for doing this is by understanding the tool that you're going to be using, you should start to get some ideas about some of the functionality and power of that tool. Finally, you'll have an alignment and proximity PowerPoint activity. This week's activity, you'll download the PowerPoint that I've given and follow the instructions within the PowerPoint. You will then save and submit that completed PowerPoint that has demonstrated your ability to apply the principles of alignment and proximity. I want to talk about the individual project a bit. So ultimately what you're going to be making is a 15-minute self-paced e-learning module. What this means is that when your learner completes the module, everything will be self-contained within the module. That means all the feedback, all the interactions will happen within the module. They will not be submitting anything to you for supplemental grading. They will not be submitting an essay or reflection. Everything must be self-contained within the module. It should take about 15 minutes for a learner to complete. That's including the information, the content, the interactions, and also the quizzing and the feedback. We're going to be using a 30-day trial of Captivate, so therefore it's important that you not install until the week of February 4th. In our weekly overview video, I'll let you know when it's time to install. For right now, all you'll need to do is look at the lynda.com tutorials, which will give you an overview of the interface and an overview of the tool that you will be using. One of the feedback I got from the last class was that the individual project was a bit overwhelming and at times the students felt a bit lost. So to help address that, what I've decided to do is keep the individual project with the overall objectives, but I've broken it up into 3 checkpoints. What this means is that once we start working on individual projects, every week you'll be submitting something to me for feedback. This way we can make sure we're working and moving at the right pace, and also I can give you the feedback you need and help you out if you're having any issues. Your first checkpoint is going to be February 10th, and what you're going to need to be submitting is a title slide and template. Your checkpoint 2 will be where you have included your navigation, your video, and some of your interaction. Your third checkpoint will be your quizzing, where you've added your quiz questions and also the feedback. Overall, the final version is going to be due March 3rd. For those of you who are more comfortable with Captivate, if you want to submit more than just one thing at each of the checkpoints, so for instance at checkpoint 1, you feel confident enough that you want to go ahead and have the navigation video, you are free to do so. However, it's important that you meet each of your checkpoints so that you do not get overwhelmed working on the